Hello and welcome back to Plastic Prehistorica, the occasional review channel, and I brought it outdoors today on this absolutely gorgeous hot day to have a look at one of the birthday specials. It is of course my birthday today, and I've been absolutely dying to have a look at this wonderful Majungasaurus which my friend Dave sent me, and which was a figure that was at the top of my wish list. So I can't thank Dave enough, and I hope I'll be able to do this figure justice for you. So as you can see, Majungasaurus here, I did think this was going to be one of Haolonggood's finest theropods, and in hand it certainly is. Like all Haolonggood theropods, it's sculpted in quite a dynamic pose, and it's supported by lower limbs which are cast in a harder material. So you can see there's a slight seam around the knee here, but that's blended very nicely. I mean, they could have just cut it straight, but they haven't. They've actually blended it in a curve to make it appear like a wrinkle in the creature's leg. And this is a fantastic touch. It's a really nice, thoughtful piece of detailing that Haolonggood put into their sculpts, so that this doesn't detract from the figure in any way at all. It's really nicely done. And as you can see, all the paintwork's nicely blended here as well. And it does mean that Haolonggood figures are stable without a base. I've never had a single problem with any Haolonggood figure tripping over or falling or distorting at all. And I really do wish that more companies would use this approach for their theropod figures, especially when they're posed as dynamically as this. So as you can see, it's posed in quite a dynamic, predatory, striding pose. The neck's stretched out far in front of the animal and the jaws are open. I know that some collectors don't like the theropods to have open jaws, but it does allow the sculptors to give them an extra layer of detail and really show the creature off in its entirety. I know it's not realistic for animals to have their mouths open all the time, but personally it's not something that troubles me. And in this particular case, it's been really nicely done by Haolonggood because they haven't articulated the jaw. Much like the Concavenator, this has a fixed jaw, and this has allowed them to keep the sculpt in a lovely flow, which really enhances the realism of the figure. Now, because we're outdoors, there might be some audio and visual artifacts relating to the lighting and things which are beyond my control in the wider world. I'll try and bring Majungasaurus in here for you to have a closer look, and I hope the camera focuses. There's an added level of difficulty today. I can't see what I'm filming myself, so I can only hope that this turns out okay, and also that the audio turns out okay. So we'll start at the head. The proportions of this figure are all excellent, and Haolonggood too tend to build the figures from the skeleton up. So you tend to get that element of realism from that. So you see how wide and short the skull of Majungasaurus is compared to most theropods of the age. They're very unusual from this regard of Bellisaurids. And they've also given this head a lot of rugosity in the scaling detail. And they've also chosen to pick out the crests above the eyes in orange and that horn in orange too, which really pops against this lovely blue patch on the snout. There are, of course, two different colour versions of this figure. There is a slightly more greyish one too, and they're both absolutely excellent. The eye is just a simple gloss black, but on a figure of this scale, that works absolutely fine. I hope you'll be able to see, if we bring her in a little closer, that there are different tones of red on the jaw. And again, rather like the Concavenator, for all this figure was sculpted before the Exparia paper came out, there's so much flesh here at the back of the jaw, you can, again, use your imagination and creative thinking. And that also applies to whether or not the figure has lips. With it having open jaws, that's left quite ambiguous. But if you look at the underside of the jaw here, it's sculpted to give the impression that there might be a lip sort of bagging out around the teeth in the lower jaw there, which is a very nice touch. They've used gloss paints on the inside of the mouth. There's a lot of detailing in here, which I'm not sure I'll be able to show on camera. I'm not sure I'll be able to get the lighting here for you. There is a lot of detail on the roof of the mouth. It is unfortunately caught in shadow here, but there are choanal openings in there, and the tongue's beautifully sculpted too. Very difficult to see. It's such a beautiful, dainty little figure. If I just rotate it around here, you can see how thick and muscular the neck is, and that there's a lot of wrinkling to imply dynamism and movement here, but it's not overcut. The skin detailing is very, very fine. There's no sort of over sculpted scales, there's no sort of pebbly texture or anything like that, and the paintwork really complements it. And I like the way they've considered the paintwork in this figure too, because you've got this really bright blue complementing the orange on the head. The blue is continued as a wash along the underside of the figure, and I hope you'll be able to appreciate in this lighting how complicated the paintwork is on this figure, because there are pinkish tones around the hindquarters also. And of course there is the cloacal opening, but then as you come back down along the tail, you find that the scale texture changes, and that these are larger, flatter, more crocodilian scales, and the intensity of the blue increases. And it really gives the whole figure a rather realistic balance, a beautiful appearance. The proportions really are excellent in this figure. Majungasaurus did of course have very short limbs, the bellisaurids are known for it. In fact, I believe that now Carnotaurus is also thought to have shorter limbs, because it was originally thought to have very long limbs. They also had very tiny arms. Compared to Tyrannosaurids, their arms were even smaller and even less mobile and less useful. So they had these very small, stiff hands, which apparently didn't bear any ungulls or claws on them at all. So there may have been some other ornamentation on these which we're not yet aware of. There's lovely striping, lovely ornamental striping down the forearm here, beautifully done. So this is a really, really gorgeous figure. I'm absolutely delighted with it. I really can't thank my friend Dave enough for these figures. And it's in 1/35 scale. The packaging on this one had some interesting red characters, which I've not seen on Haolonggood packaging before. So the other bellisaurids that we see most commonly in dinosaur toy form are Carnotaurus, of course, and this is collectors. And of course it's out of scale with our Majungasaurus here. It's far too large. But I still feel that this is one of the nicest depictions of Carnotaurus available in terms of how it's sculpted and the detailing, if not so much the paintwork. The other bellisaurid, or rather ceratosaurid, which of course are related to the whole group, is another figure that you see, but not strangely from Haolonggood up here in Soya. This of course is Papo's, and it's in roughly the same scale as our Majungasaurus here. It's roughly the same sort of size. Of course this figure is very stylized, as Papo figures always are. So I really hope that given the success of the size of the sculpt and the quality of the sculpt of this figure, that Haolonggood go ahead and do a Ceratosaurus sooner rather than later. And I hope you've thoroughly enjoyed having a look at this beautiful figure, all its lovely detailing with me. As you can see, there are little pimples and ornamental scales in the flanks here. Its tail's nice and thick. You can see the cauda femoralis muscle. It's just an exquisite sculpt, very, very nicely done. Brilliant work from Haolonggood, and I look forward to any future creations from them. And I hope to see you all in the next video.